to how we would negotiate and move forward for the fight. That's ourselves, Top Rank, Matchroom, both Tyson and Anthony Joshua and their respective management companies. In that agreement, there is a clause referring to the arbitration, and it is still outstanding. The view of I think you've seen Bob Arum's quotes on it. The view from his lawyers was that they felt that it was at an end, and that also that there'd be no problem moving forward. Having said that, the arbitrator hadn't given his decision, and it doesn't matter what Eddie Hearn wants to say at the moment. The facts are he was very much aware of that agreement because he signed it, and so did AJ, as well as everybody else.
Those are the words of Frank Warren. Okay, now Frank Warren is given his side of what went on in the agreement of when the negotiations first started between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and all the parties involved. Now, he did say, hey, Eddie Hearn, as you heard him just say, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua were aware of the possibilities, or were aware, let's put it this way, they were aware of the arbitration still in place. Okay. And Bob Arum and his lawyers assured us that there wouldn't be a problem moving forward. Okay, but meanwhile, Eddie Hearn was aware. Okay, like Frank Warren said, regardless of what Eddie Hearn is saying, he was aware. What they're both saying that counterpunch this, they're saying the same stuff, people. The same claim. They're saying that. See, Frank Warren was like, well, Eddie Hearn was aware. Yes, he was aware. He didn't say he wasn't aware. Bob Arum said that, hey, it shouldn't be a problem, or him and his lawyers say they shouldn't be a problem moving forward. Well, obviously they were. Okay. Eddie Hearn was told the same thing from Bob Arum, just like Frank Warren said that Bob Arum's lawyers and all those spoke on. So, yeah, they were aware. You know, they were aware of it, of course, but who knew that it would be this big? Who knew it would be this effective or this impactful, you know, to get this particular fight done? Okay, who would know this, right? And basically, it's the lawyers of Bob, or Bob and his whatever, you know, did not anticipate this. But what's the missing factor? The arbitrator. If Bob Arum knew the arbitrator, he should have knew what it is. Now, I do look at the demeanor of Frank Warren. He looks like he's in better spirits. He doesn't look like that same kind of cold. He still has that, he still has that going. But, you know, you see he has a smile on his face. He's happy. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like he's too pissed off about losing one of the biggest fights in heavyweight history. He doesn't. But then again, you're also talking about a man that had doubt. That had doubt over reasons that had nothing to do with him. So if the reasons had nothing to do with him, they look like excuses for him really not wanting to fight. See, if you look at, I haven't really seen Bob or an interview with Bob lately, but I'm looking at Frank Warren and his tone, his body language. He seems like he's pretty happy about it. He doesn't seem pissed off about it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, what can you do? Right? But I'm just looking at how a person responds to a certain decision that someone else made. It still affects you, because the things that affect you the most are the things that you have no control over a lot of times. You know, and I know you get older because Frank Warren's seasoned. He's seasoned. So he probably was like, okay, well, hey, all well. But I don't know. Something within his smile and everything, it just seems like he's in better spirits to me. Let's move forward and see what else he has to say, Mr. Frank Warren.
Negotiations were going on for the fight for quite a while, as we all know. Seemed like it became every day. Hearn was announcing that the fight's on. Tomorrow we'll do the contracts, we'll be getting this, that, and all that was just went on and on. It became boring, and it certainly did not happen because nothing was ever signed. And that was also in breach of an agreement that any announcements would be, and we'd all announce them jointly. That was in this agreement we made. So that's where we got to. Tyson was getting quite frustrated, having been out the ring since last February 2020, and it got to a stage where we all got quite fed up. Being, every day we're getting closer to this is going to happen. And Tyson said, "Look, you got 48 hours to get this fight on, or I'm going to fight Wilder and just bypass everything." He then had a conversation with Prince Khalid in Saudi Arabia, who gave him a lot of comfort. And I think you've seen the video that went out as a result of that. Coincidentally, the next day, the arbitrator gave his decision, which stated that the fight against Wilder had to happen.
So, Frank Warren, he continues about the negotiations with Eddie Hearn, and into Counterpunch, what he was saying about every day you had something, or every 2 or 3 days you had, hey, something signed, we're going to sign the contract, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and, I have to agree with Frank Warren. That was getting boring. Like every day you heard something. Then every day you heard, then another day you heard this, then another day you heard that, then another day you heard, like, nothing signed though yet. As Frank Warren said, nothing was never signed, and then if they were going to do it, they were going to do it together. However, here's the deal. I agreed all up to that point, because it's like you guys want to announce the deal together, but at the same time, you're not doing anything to help the deal either. You see the irony of that. Like, yo, you want the credit. You want the credit for making the fight, but you didn't even make the fight. You doubted the fight. You know what I mean? But I get why they were saying, look, this is getting boring, because it was getting boring. Like Eddie Hearn, every other day, he was like, oh, it's happening. Like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not. I mean, it's getting closer. So just say that. Just shut up until it happens. You know what I mean? But here's the deal. He went from it getting boring, then he got 48 hours to fight, then he talked to Prince Khalid, right? Okay, well, that was a stretch. That was, about a month and a half, maybe 2 months in between, where he gave those ultimatums about that and this, that, and the other. But it comes to find out, since he talked to Prince Khalid, he knew that what Eddie was saying was right. So it wasn't the fact that Eddie was lying. It was the fact that he didn't get things signed and drafted the way that he's supposed to, because he wanted that money Tyson Fury did in the bank. So he had to verify on another side. So he had to really eliminate the middleman to get the information from the main man. Okay, so that's what he did. And he was talking about fighting Wilder anyway. Well, there you go. They are, coincidentally, like Frank Warren said, hey, you had to fight that man anyway, so he should have just done that before all that happened. And in fact, if he spent millions of dollars on trying not to fight Deontay Wilder and fight him in this arbitration or whatever, he lost his damn money. He could have just fought Deontay Wilder anyway. He should have done that anyhow. Okay, so because it wasn't right. It wasn't right how he ran out on those negotiations due to some type of comment that Wilder made. Who cares? Sticks and stones may break my bones. You didn't think that last year? We could have had this fight. We could have had the winner, and we could have moved on with the sport of boxing in the heavyweight division concerning those guys and how boxing's supposed to work up there. Not the same shit that we've seen from 2018. Okay, because there's still one belt they're fighting over. One belt. That's it. No other belt. One belt. And that's getting old. Okay, to counterpunch that. So, there you go. Like, yeah, Frank Warren says that, hey, we never signed, and we were tired of Eddie Hearn. We doubted Eddie Hearn. Come to find out, Eddie Hearn was really telling the truth, because Tyson Fury had talked to Prince Khalid that had the money for the fight. Then all of a sudden, all this doubting and stuff that you guys did was all in vain. It didn't matter anyway, because Wilder won his day in court. But here's the question I have for you guys. What would have happened if this fight would have been made in February, even March, to happen next month? Would it all those promotions had to be called off? See, the problem is they set on the idea of fighting Joshua. And then they knew, well, hey, if we're going to set on this idea, we have this arbitration here. which I don't think it's going to mean anything because the contract's expired. But did you hear Frank Warren at any time say anything about a contract being expired? No. Did you see Bob? Did you hear Bob from Eddie Hearn's interview yesterday say like, hey, the contract was expired? No. Did you see him do anything else to make a notion or appeal? No. He didn't do any of that. Well, we're going to fight Wilder, and that's how it's going to be. So they already had that in place. But anyway, those are the words of Tyson Fury. You guys tell me what you think about this video. Please subscribe. I'm sorry, Frank Warren. Those are the words of Frank Warren. You guys tell me what you think. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.